Hello YouTube. The Elder Scrolls universe is full of interesting factions, both obscure and well known. Now, a very interesting faction are the Khajiit Bandari peddlers, nomadic Khajiit traders who travel from city to city, often camping out in front of city gates to sell their wares to the local population. Now, there's a lot more lore to these traveling caravans than you may think, and today I want to get into the nitty-gritty detail of what these traveling Khajiit are all about. So, let's roll the intro and let's get into it. So, the Bandari. The Bandari peddlers are nomadic Khajiit who travel all over Tamriel, peddling their wares as long as you have the coin. And that's about all that most people know about them, that they're traveling merchants that often don't have the best reputation to the people of Tamriel. But their society is so much deeper than that, as the Bandari are a real subculture of the Khajiit. They have their own music, dances, folklore, food culture, drink culture, technology and laws, and are somewhat shunned even among Khajiit who do not truly trust them either, meaning that even in many cities and elsewhere they are forced to stay out of the gates. Now, their society itself, just like their culture, is quite separate from the regular society of elsewhere. They don't really seem to care about politics or kings or queens, and mostly do their own thing, operating by their own laws, as they see themselves as separate from regular Khajiiti society as well. You see, they see themselves as the children or wandering litter of the Khajiiti trickster and bandit god Bandar, a god that originally was scrapped from the Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall but was later brought back in lore. They see themselves as wandering children of his, and they almost never settle down, almost always being on the road. Their society is split into several Bandari clans, who all seem to have their own territory that they travel in, usually a province or part of a province. Now, within that region, the clan often splits up into smaller caravans, which travel to different cities, and the different caravans then often meet up every once in a while to trade among one another. This system is actually most visible with the Khajiiti caravans in Skyrim. Now, while we don't know if they are actually Bandari, they operate in exactly the same way, and the Bandari lore of later games was based on them. So for this video I will assume that they are Bandari. Because with them you can clearly see their internal hierarchy, as you have a clan leader, in the case of Skyrim's clan in the 4th era, that's Resad, who led all of the Khajiiti caravans to Skyrim, and once they split up into different caravans, each with their own caravan leader, but in the end they all still answer to the clan leader, who decides when they pack up again and where they move next. Now, within these clans, everyone part of the clan is seen as family, and within a clan, the Bandari treat each other as such, even if they are not related by blood, as life on the road is hard, and with the distrust of other races on them, they have to look out for one another, because no one else will do it for them. Like I said before, this kinda led to a whole Khajiiti subculture with their own traditional food recipes, their own traditional drinks, their own music, dancing styles, and their own traditions. In addition to that, most Bandari are said to be more resourceful than your average traveler, being better equipped to deal with hardship, as from a young age every kitten learns survival skills. In addition to that, the Bandari also have their own technology, as they develop their own magical moon compasses to help them find their way across Tamriel to new distant lands. And they even salvage other cultures' technologies and adapt them for themselves, as at least one clan, likely while traveling Skyrim or Hammerfell, was known to repurpose and reprogram old dwarven spiders to fetch them things from hard to reach places, which is pretty impressive. An average clan in the lore is very diverse, as all members of the clan tend to travel. And in the lore, in Khajiiti caravans, you tend to find all types of Khajiit, even the large ones that look like tigers and lions, such as the Sensharat Khajiit, that you generally don't see that much outside of elsewhere. You will also find many kittens or young Khajiit among the caravans in the lore, as kittens are often born on the road, as their families are ever wandering across the land. Now, other than kittens being born on the road, another way to grow the clan size is to pick up new members among the Khajiit, as clans tend to welcome almost everyone as long as they adhere themselves to the laws of the Bandari, also called the Bandari Code, which I'll talk about in a bit. Now, the caravans tend to consist of several wagons loaded with wares and tents, and sometimes you'll even find simple mobile homes among them. Generally, all of that is pulled by horses, as pulling wagons and carts is considered to be beneath the large Khajiit's dignity. However, the really large Khajiits do tend to carry caravan members on their backs while they travel. It's just the carts that they find to be beneath their dignity, which I kinda understand, as they're not a packing animal. Now, while the clans always insist on traveling around, they have been known to sometimes temporarily settle down. For example, during the Three Banners War, Cyrodiil was engulfed in an all-destroying war, meaning that it was far too dangerous to travel the land in Cyrodiil. So one of the clan leaders decided that his clan would set up a trading post in an abandoned Imperial village and just stay there until the situation died down and the land became safer to travel again. In those rare cases, they then do settle down for a short while and live in borrowed abandoned buildings before hitting the road again. Now, between the different Bandari clans, there's often cooperation in separation. While different clans do trade with one another and respect one another, they rarely travel together and rarely stay together for very long. Two clans will often trade supplies and sometimes perhaps even people, to expand the gene pool a bit, I assume, but that's speculation. But in the end, the clans always part ways again. Something interesting in the relation between different clans is that there's an artifact, a small polished piece of moonstone, called the Eye of Bandar, named after their patron god. That artifact plays, or at least used to play, a pretty big role in their society. You see, the Eye of Bandar was an artifact made for trading. There was only one of them, and it may only be traded between Bandari clans. The clan that held the artifact could trade it to another clan, and the other clan then had to trade it against everything that the other clan desired. So for example, my clan has the eye, gives it to your clan, and then tells you that you have to support my clan in a conflict, or have to give my clan enough supplies to last the winter. But then you get the eye, and your clan is then allowed to use it on any other Bandari clan, and have them trade with you whatever you desire. I thought it was pretty interesting. Now, the final and perhaps most interesting thing about the Bandari that I want to talk about is the so-called Code of Bandari, a set of rules and laws that every Bandari clan member has to adhere to. If one breaks the code, one will become an exile among exiles, as society will already shun the Bandari, but upon breaking the Bandari code, one becomes a so-called caste cat, and one will also be shunned by the Bandari, as the code, for all terms and purposes, is sacred to the Bandari and is the basis of their way of life. You see, the code has several written and crucially also unwritten rules, and it's because of this code that the Bandari want other people to trust them, saying that as long as you expect the Bandari to always keep themselves to the code, you can trust them blindly. But that's perhaps going a bit far, as you'll see. Because the first rule in the Code of Bandari is that loose objects, so objects that are uncontained, being neither in someone's pocket, someone's drawer, or in someone's hand, so let's say a sword randomly laying somewhere on the street, should be considered abandoned and may thus be lawfully salvaged, as nobody apparently cares enough about them to be properly contained. And thus the Bandari are allowed to pick up and use or trade such objects. This is one of the reasons for the Bandari's reputation as thieves, as they may take this rule very literally, meaning that if they see you drop your wallet perchance and you then walk away without noticing, they are under no obligation to give the wallet back if they happen to pick the wallet up, as that wallet is considered abandoned and thus may be salvaged by the Bandari. This also makes it very easy to sell stolen goods, to some of them at least, as by saying that you found it unattended may be enough to at least some Bandari to accept your goods for trade. Of course, not all of them are like that, some of them are very honest, but it's part of why they have that reputation, because the code can be interpreted as such. Now, the second important law in the Code of Bandari is to always sell high quality goods, so no shoddy wares, as if you sell bad goods, the reputation of all clans is hurt. If one clan sells bad or low quality goods, it may leave a bad taste in the mouth of the consumer, and thus they will no longer buy from the Bandari, which is not a good thing for the clans as a whole. A third and pretty hilarious law is that if the people of Tamriel ask you for a fortune telling or for advice, something which often seems to happen as people find the Khajiit to be mysterious, especially in provinces far away from elsewhere, then you have to give them a positive or pleasing piece of advice, as you may not offend clients. So one is advised to always keep your ears and eyes open so that you pick up on what's going on in an area around where you are, so that your nice words may actually also be good advice. I thought that was pretty hilarious. Now, other than that, we know that other rules include not to slander other Bandari clans or clansmen, you must always repay a gift in kind, and your deals don't always have to be fair, as long as they have the correct monetary value. So for example, if it's someone's last sword to defend themselves with, the Bandari may only give them the actual price in gold and not something extra to them defend themselves with, as that would exceed the monetary value of the trade. Even if the power imbalance of the trade is perhaps unfair, the monetary value is good, meaning that the Bandari has to trade it like that. But those are just the rules of the code that we know, the written rules. And the code of Bandari crucially also consists of unwritten rules, which may even override the written rules. And the Bandari aren't exactly inclined to share what those unwritten rules are exactly. So in the end, you still don't really know what you're up against when dealing with a Bandari merchant. So I kinda start to understand why the people of Tamriel may not be super inclined to trust them still. But still, if you keep to the code, the Bandari will mostly treat you fairly, and they are known to even pick up non-Khajiit members to their caravans sometimes, as long as they keep themselves to the code, which is pretty cool. Anyway, that's about all I can say about the Bandari peddlers, and I sincerely hope that you enjoyed the video and that I managed to teach you something new about the Elder Scrolls lore today. Now if I did, why not give the video a like, as that's the way YouTube decides whether or not my content is worthy.
Anyway, all that's left for me to be done is to thank my top Patreon supporters, Mr. Bernardo Binda, Gabriel Binda, Doji, Hunter Joe, KLegendM, King Chris 20, RB Dash, Volkior of Argonia, Devin Mattingly, Rakai and Sword of Bushido. These people, along with all the others on screen, keep my channel afloat, and for that I am very grateful. That said, I will see you all in the next Elder Scrolls lore video, probably next week.